Hello guys, and welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be talking about six underrated cards that you should definitely look at. Maybe good for now or the future. They could be very good coming up. They could be something that's super underlooked. I just want to talk about 5 cards currently that I feel people should be looking more at and think about it when deck building. Some of them is more for competitive, others you can find in more casual settings, but I feel some card on this list you've not looked at and you'll be like, oh yeah, I should probably test it. So the first card I want to talk about is Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries. Of course, this is one of the Ghost Girls, probably one of the earlier ones, second one to release, and definitely has been a format dependent card within the past, and a lot of drive away from it has sometimes been because there's not enough targets. It doesn't hit as much things as you want to see, and just the cards that you have to pick up are like super expensive. For example, I think Pendulum format, there was like 15 decks, so it was hard to grab everything to hit that, like all the decks in the format. And also Heavy Metal Foes Electromite, the biggest target you would want to hit, was like $70-80 at the time. And most people were like, even though this hand trap's cheap, the cards that you need to use to stop your opponent aren't. So that's always been a driving factor. And recently, with the release of Pot of Extravagance, there's way more use for your extra deck as a deck that doesn't prioritize in extra deck summoning, but I feel we have to look back at this card. I feel this format, at least the one we're in right now, the online format, almost every deck is playing a Needle Fiber, and let's say you play Needle Fiber yourself because you need it for your combos. I think Ghost Reaper is best within mirrors, of course, because you'll be able to play the card and then hit the card out of your opponents, and you just have a dominant force within a mirror. And I think the format is pretty simplified to a point where a lot of the decks are playing the same exact cards, especially with the extra deck for Crystalline Needle Fiber. You're probably playing Auroradon, but I'll just hit the Needle Fiber, because I think that's probably the most simple thing you can do. And you can kind of already know what some cards are. You can hit Gallant Granite or something in ADAMANCIPATORs. I think there's some pretty obvious hits that you can hit now in the format with Ghost Reaper, and they are not necessarily expensive, which is the great thing. You probably have to play a Needle Fiber anyways in your strategy, so the cost of it doesn't really matter because you're already utilizing it, and that's how you treat the cost. It's a bonus for being Winter Cherry's target. And for the future too, Dragoon's coming out, probably one of the most broken extra cards that is going to completely reduce the format to just about the same plays over and over and over. I'm not looking forward to it, but this card is a help trying to keep my sanity during that format, because thankfully this card is a Mega Tin promo, so I don't know if it's in every single tin or it's like a ratio where you may or may not get it, but it should be able to be gotten pretty easily. It shouldn't be over the price of a tin in any sort of way. So you'll easily be able to get this card at a reasonable price and then use it against your opponent. You probably may play it if you're competitive, so you'll be able to lock out your opponents, make them have just some dead cards in their deck, that being the Red Eyes Fusion and the 2 cards you send off of it, and then you have your own, and you just get to have the Dragoon while your opponent does not get to have it at all. I think Ghost Reaper is definitely going to be powerful now in the future, and even though it's not because it's a card, there's definitely cards that super demand being hit, and it makes a very powerful play for you that makes this card worth it. So this next card I'm going to bundle in as 2 cards. They're pretty similar. It's Supre, Duskwalker, and Ascator, I think I said that right, the Dawnwalker. So these two cards were released in a legendary duelist set with the Earthbound Immortals. It was the villain set. These cards are very, very good if you've not read them, which when they came out, they're not that good because of Master Rule 4. But pretty much the Supra one lets you summon a generic level 6 Synchro, and the Dawnwalker one, the Ascator, lets you summon a level 8 generic Synchro just for free. There is one cost to these cards. First, discard to summon, which perfectly fine, a lot of things like to discard, but you were locked into synchro summoning, which that is awful because you would always need links to go do your plays. So you have to be exclusively synchro summoning for the turn you use these cards. But I feel that is perfectly manageable now, but there's still many other good targets nonetheless. Like, you go in Spreenak with the level 6 one. There's just a lot of things, and you kind of just have to look through the pool, see what's best for you to summon with these cards, and they become very easy summon material. Like, they're very good. You can supplement them into a very simplified deck that kind of sits on a normal summon. Those decks, I can see them being really good in this sense. You may want to choose to do Wind Witch, but this ones have way less bricks. And when you draw the brick, as long as you draw that card to do the combo, you'll still be able to do it, which is pretty nice. So yeah, I think these cards are really good. I didn't even know about them, so I do want to give a shout out to Red Eyes Jackalow. He is a other YouTuber. Go check him out. But yeah, he suggested them to me. I'm like, damn, yeah, these cards are good. So I put them in a list. So my number 3, we're going to keep on the hand trap train. GNOMATERIAL. I really like this card. I know a lot of people were not willing to pick it up. It was pretty expensive when it first dropped, but there's points where it's been really dropped down in price, and you can easily pick it up at a good rate. So pretty much what the card does, you're going to have to be going second, and you get to, when a card is special summoned, you target a card, and that card cannot be used for material. So of course, I think this is a very good hand trap now. It pretty much stops the needle fiber combo, because you can, I guess you can target the needle fiber itself and it won't be able to be linked off into the Rorodon. Of course, you can hit the thing that was summoned off the needle fiber, so that means they cannot synchro summon with that card at all, and usually since that's the only tuner they'll be able to get out, you've pretty much stopped their whole needle fiber combo. There's just other things where this can be very good. Sometimes it does take a lot of knowledge in the roots to know exactly where to hit. Like, I remember SPYRAL format, it was still a card I really liked, because if you hit the master plan, they weren't able to search a bunch, you know, and they're kind of stuck. They wanted to link it off, but they couldn't. But you would still need to know the exact place to hit it, and you try to hit it before Resort comes live, because it does need to target. But you know, there's a lot of different places. You just need to be very smart and knowledgeable about the format, and you'll be able to figure out a place where it really does stop combo. I think in ADAMANCIPATORs, if you hit one of the tuners, they freely special summon themselves out. So even though they're not the best time to lock, maybe when they special summon the target and you don't think they have anything else to go but to synchro summon or go into needle fiber after that point, that would be a perfect time to hit them with this card, and them just being, oh crap, I can't go into anything. Yeah, GNOMATERIAL is really good. You do have to be very knowledgeable. Of course, it only really hits things that go into the X deck. Most just special. It's probably fine when they get hit with it. Most things that have to go into the X deck and use things as material, that's when it's definitely a problem and it really stops them. So it's definitely a high skill hand trap, but it's definitely worth it. My number 4 card for this list is going to be Lingaribo. So Lingaribo is a pretty much, it's kind of like Linkaribo. It's a Link 1, and its summoning condition is 1 level 4 or lower Cyberse monster. And it has one pretty important effect, which really put it on the list. When your opponent activates a trap card, to get the activation. And if you do, banish it. That's very good. A trap negation, it's probably the least important form of negation, but for it being a Link 1, it has a nice arrow, by the way. A nice little down arrow, so you should be good if you need to link something a little bit more. Like, being able to negate a trap, it's a good backup for your board. If you're doing like things with Cyberse, you're comboing off. If you can have 1 more Cyberse left on your field, of course of a low level, you'll be able to link it off, summon this, and pretty much be protected by impermanence to try and stop one of your big power cards, or by a evenly matched to try and wipe your board. Those are the 2 big traps which generally you'd want to be able to have a little bit of backup protection against, which Linkaribo does end up offering for you. So I think it's a really good underrated card. There's certain decks that can probably utilize it. Mathmex, if you can't, if you're just sitting on that 1 extra card that you had for the extension, you know, why not go into this, help protect your board. There's a few other decks, of course, Adagnister can definitely use this. Pure just Cyberse combo, they should be able to use it if they feel necessary to need a trap negate. This is a very easy one that they can put on the field. And Salamangreats. Salamangreats, if it becomes a super heavy back row deck, which it kind of has, you'll be able to link off into this as long as you're not locked into Salamangreats. I don't think there's a card that does that besides the banned card. That thing's gone. So if you're not locking yourself into Salamangreats, you'll be able to summon this for a trap negation to make sure you don't get impermed, which is not really too much of a problem with that deck. But definitely, like the evenly match, being able to make sure that doesn't go through at all, definitely very important to have. So, and it's like a $1 card. People, you can just pick up 1 and you're probably good. So my last card is Saravis the Ancient and Ascended. So this card is a ritual monster that protects you from targeting effect by discarding it from your hand, just like a hand trap. Why I think this is underrated, not because it's that great to just have in your hand trying to hard draw it, but I think it's a very good card that can be searched way more easily. Of course, Herald of the Arclight, if you can dump that from your extra deck to your grave, or you know, you have it on your board for Jet Synchron combo, however long that stays alive, you'll be able to search a ritual monster or a ritual spell. Of course, probably the best card you can search without even thinking about rituals themselves is this card. It offers a targeting protection for 1 thing, so that's a pretty good effect. Not something you want to be hard drawing into, but if it's a free search, it definitely isn't bad. Of course, Dragma is coming out, so Herald of the Arclight is a dump target, and you'll be able to search this card and be able to protect the board you've made with Dragmas and whatever you're splashing with your Dragmas. That's just something very important. Of course, your opponent may be playing Dragmas. They send cards from your extra deck to the graveyard. Often you get to choose though, so you'll be able to choose a Herald. If you have the extra deck space, you can put that in, get it dumped, and then be able to search for this and have protection when you're fighting off against them. They do have targeting effects. Fleur-de-Lis is one of them, so being able to stop that is kind of nice, you know, definitely ain't bad. So yeah, I think this card is pretty underrated. Definitely not too underrated because people have already been looking at it, but it's definitely something you should just make sure you have the copies of. It's very cheap, so. But that's it for this video. Hope you guys liked and enjoyed. Hopefully I bring some card up you did not really look at, something that you're like, oh, yeah, I can probably throw that in my deck. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you liked and enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next video. Alright, goodbye.